Good morning, everyone. It's Sue here. So I have just one question for all of you. Do you have extra 6x6 paper pads? I know I do. So, I'd like to dabble in mixed media and just kind of fool around, get my hands all painty and all kinds of stuff. And, I just love, it relaxes me. And then I was thinking, my gosh, buying the bigger pads at Michael's or whatever can be a little expensive. Not too bad if you use a coupon, but sometimes they're just too big and the pages, I don't want to do a huge page. I have been using a book like Mixed Media Jen. She uses just a regular, she uses a textbook. I'm using a Reader's Digest condensed book just to fool around in. But then I'm like, I want something even different. So I'm like, what do I have a lot of that I can use? I'm like, my 6x6 paper pads, right? I have, 15 of them sitting there doing nothing. I try to use them, but it's hard for me to actually use them. So I went and I pulled this one. I used a bunch of it, but certainly not all of it. So I'm just going to show you real quick. It's a great way to use up your 6x6 paper pads and just to play around in. So this particular page started out with a napkin. I did put some this right here is the actual 6x6 pattern paper. Then I put napkin on top. I did a graphic 45 flower and a button that I had. I did put a little bit of gesso and then some of my Inca Gold. And then I had this piece of jute in my little container of stuff I want to use up. So, and I went and I did put some gesso on and just fooling around, right? I want to get my fingers dirty. And to hold it on, I'm using a piece of washi tape because it does get loose by turning the page. But, okay, so how much washi tape do you have? I think I can use, a 6-inch piece on each of these. This was the next page that I did. So this one actually started with just a whole bunch of little pieces of scrap paper. So, and then I went ahead and tissue paper and washi tape. And then I went ahead and put Mod Podge on top. I painted a couple flowers and did some doodling with my white gel pen and put a couple of stems and leaves and some stamping. So very, very, very easy, right? So this page, this is the 6x6 paper. So I did not cover the whole 6x6. I went with it, right? I went with the design that's already on there. So this particular one is this right here. It has the frames on it. So I just went ahead and I took some of my acrylic paints. I also went and took my white gel pen and did some doodling. And I had some flowers from a flower swap I was in with Crazy Island Family. And that was it. And it was fun. It was just what I needed just for that day, right? Just to, like I say, just to get my hands into everything. This one started out with a card. This is the actual design on the 6x6 paper. I put a border. I did some, this was like leftover acrylic paints. And I did some rub-ons. These are Stampin' Up! Rub-ons. And then I also received this banner in a swap from Crazy Island Family. This one I really like. I went ahead and used this is what I used, Distress Crackle Paint. Now, it did not crack, and I'm thinking it's because I did not put a lot on. You can still see I put a thin coat of gesso, then a thin coat of that blue paint, and you can still see the original paper underneath. So I just did some stamping with some flowers, and then I used these flowers that I got in a swap, and I wrote the word bloom with Stampin' Up! Letters. I just love this page. This is a cool page. Then this one, oops, then this one right here, this was like a lot of leftovers, okay? So it was just a lot of leftover paint. It was leftover modeling paste from a stencil. I had learned how to make some flowers from Shannon Green. Awesome. I'm loving these flowers. This was my very first one, and the paper was so thick that it just came out a little ragged around the edges, but I love them anyway. And I used that same crackle paint, but I put a lot on this time, and you can see it certainly crackled. And I did some doodling, and I did some stuff with markers. So again, just to get my hands dirty, right? And then this was my most current page I did this morning. So it's a little bit shiny, but what I did was I started with a stencil, and it happened to run a little bit. That was only because I decided to put the stencil on this page just to get the paint off of it, and when I held up this page it dripped a little bit. And then I was playing a lot with some Liquitex mediums, so I gave myself some money to spend. I've been on a spending freeze for almost 3 months, and I gave myself a little bit of money to spend on mixed media products a couple weeks ago. And there was this box. Now, obviously it was a present to somebody at some point because it's like all ripped, right? But it was originally $35, marked down to $20, and because it was a green sticker and the day I was there, they knocked another 50 or 75% off. So 50, no, it was 75 because I got it for $8 and change. And these are all the different mediums that came in this box. So there's 6 different mediums, and most of them I have not played with before. So I'm just trying to play around a little bit to get to know what they do. So this pouring medium, I put in a little bowl with some of this paint. So this is Winsor Newton Permanent Rose, just to see what it would do. And I really liked it. I actually ended up using that particular paint on a few pages. It kind of made it, I don't know, a little, I want to say creamier, if that's the right word, which is probably not the right word. So I used that. Whoops. I also, let's see. Oh, the very, very beginning, I have never used clear gesso. I use the regular white gesso all the time, but not the clear. So that was the first thing that I did on this page. So this chevron is the actual pattern paper. I went ahead and put the clear gesso on top of that. Then I went ahead and did the stenciling, the blue part. Then I put the paint, the pink paint on. And then I went over it all with the high gloss varnish. I've never, ever used a varnish before, and I wanted to see what it would do. And I really like what it did. I mean, I like it. It's a little bit shiny, but it's I guess more of a sealer. So it's going to seal in, you know, your paints or markers or whatever it is that you're using on your project. So that's kind of where I went with this particular page. I do want to mention too that on this page, and I don't know if you can tell, especially if you look at like this flower right here, see how it's a little bit blue and a little bit sparkly? And I did spray the whole page. What I used was, and I don't see anybody using this, but I got it in a kit from a craft store in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. It's called Radiant Rain Shimmering Mist, made by Luminart. And it's just that. So this is the color, it's blue. And when it sprays, it's very translucent, I would say. Yet it has a beautiful, it's almost like there's actual glitter in it. But But anyway, so that was something else that I tried. I had bought that kit long ago and really haven't played with this particular spray. But, I mean, I would buy more of this. I wouldn't buy a lot of it, but it's nice. I like it. So anyway, so that is my idea for your 6x6 pads. You know, just another way to use them. You know, another thing I would suggest is getting out your 6x6 paper pads and, you know, ones with maybe more pattern on it, and punch out a whole bunch of shapes. So if you like butterflies, punch a bunch of butterflies and you have them on hand. But use up those 6x6 paper pads. So let me know if you have any questions, and I hope that you enjoyed this. And if you're not subscribed, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Okay, thanks so much and have a great week, everybody. Bye-bye.